You didn't click this because you were bored. You clicked this because something in your life no longer feels aligned. Not broken, not chaotic, just unfamiliar. You wake up and move through your day, but something feels missing. Not motivation, not happiness, meaning. The thoughts you have now don't match the person you used to be. The things that once excited you no longer pull you forward, and the life you worked hard to build suddenly feels like it belongs to someone else. This is the moment most people misunderstand. They think something is wrong. They think they're confused. They think they've lost direction. But confusion is not the problem. Confusion appears when an old identity starts dissolving and the new one hasn't fully formed yet. That space feels uncomfortable, unstable, quiet. But that space is where awakening begins. This is not a breakdown. This is not failure. This is not weakness. This is the beginning of seeing life differently. And once this begins, there is no going back. Awakening never begins with answers. It begins when the answers you've been living with stop working. You try to think your way forward. You analyze. You replay conversations. You question decisions. But nothing settles. That's because the mind is trying to solve a problem that isn't mental. Confusion happens when awareness expands faster than understanding. Your old beliefs were designed for a smaller version of you. They helped you survive. They helped you belong. They helped you feel safe. But growth doesn't ask for permission. At some point, those beliefs start feeling tight, heavy, limiting. You don't consciously choose this. It happens naturally. You outgrow what once defined you. And when that happens, clarity disappears for a while. This is the phase where people panic. They rush. They distract themselves. They try to recreate certainty. But certainty belonged to the old version of you. Awakening removes certainty so truth can emerge. That's why confusion feels scary. It feels like losing control. But what you're really losing is the illusion that you ever had it. This stage asks you to pause, to observe, to stop forcing meaning, because meaning cannot be forced during transformation. Confusion is not here to stop you. It's here to slow you down until you're ready to see clearly. And clarity will come, but not yet. First, you must sit in the unknown without running from it. That is the first initiation of awakening. One of the clearest signs of awakening is when your old life no longer fits the way it used to. Nothing is necessarily wrong, but nothing feels right either. The routines you followed, the goals you chased, the roles you played, they start feeling heavy. You still do them, but without connection. This is confusing because from the outside, everything looks fine. People may even tell you how lucky you are, how stable your life seems. But inside, there's a quiet resistance. You feel like you're forcing yourself to continue a story that no longer reflects who you are. This doesn't mean your past was a mistake. It means it served its purpose. Every phase of life has an expiration date. Awakening begins when you sense that expiration, even before the new phase appears. This is why guilt often shows up. You may think, why am I dissatisfied? Why can't I be grateful? Why do I feel empty? But emptiness is not ingratitude. It is space. Space being created for something more aligned. You are not rejecting life. You are rejecting misalignment. And misalignment is exhausting to maintain. That exhaustion is what finally pushes you to awaken. Another painful part of awakening is the feeling of disconnect from people you once felt close to. Conversations feel repetitive. Interactions feel draining. Small talk feels unbearable. You may start pulling away, not intentionally, but instinctively. This can make you feel lonely, even when you're surrounded by others. You may wonder what happened to your social side, your patience, your tolerance. Nothing disappeared. Your awareness expanded. Awakening changes what you can energetically tolerate. You stop resonating with surface-level connections. You crave depth, honesty, presence. This doesn't make you cold, it makes you conscious. Distance forms not because you dislike people, but because you can no longer abandon yourself to belong. Some relationships were built on shared habits, shared wounds, shared illusions. When those dissolve, the connection dissolves too. This is not punishment, it is alignment. Everyone you lose creates space for connections that match who you are becoming. Awakening is selective, and that selectiveness protects your energy. Every awakening includes a death, not physical, but psychological. The death of who you thought you had to be. The version of you that chased approval, that feared silence, that needed certainty to feel safe. This death feels uncomfortable because identity feels like survival. Even false identities feel safe when you've lived inside them long enough. Letting go creates fear. Who am I without these roles, without these labels, without these expectations? This is where many people retreat. They return to old habits, old distractions, old versions of themselves. Not because they want to, but because uncertainty feels dangerous. But awakening does not allow retreat forever. Once you see, you cannot unsee. The discomfort you feel is not because you're losing yourself. It's because you're shedding what was never truly you. This stage feels like grief, because something familiar is ending. But what ends was a construction. What remains is truth. During awakening, life often feels paused. Plans stall. Motivation fades. Direction disappears. This is frustrating because the mind wants movement. But awakening is not about forward motion. It is about recalibration. Life pauses you so you don't carry old patterns into a new chapter. This stillness is intentional. If things moved forward too quickly, you would rebuild the same life with a different name. Awakening removes momentum before it gives direction. This phase teaches patience without force, trust without evidence, presence without distraction. You are learning to exist without needing immediate results. That skill will matter later, because when clarity returns, it will require stability, not urgency. This pause is preparation. If you are still listening, understand this. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are in transition. And transition always feels uncomfortable before it feels right. This confusion is temporary, but the awareness you're gaining is permanent. One day, this phase will make sense. You'll look back and realize this was the moment you stopped living unconsciously. Until then, don't rush clarity. Don't force answers. Let this phase shape you, because you are not confused. You are awakening.